Chinese investment in Australia has nosedived, falling to a record low of just $1 billion last year after peaking at $16 billion in 2016. This new data from the Australian National University shows Chinese investment slumped by 61% last year after falling 47% in 2019. To discuss this and answer some of the questions you've put on the table, I'm joined now from Sydney by broadcasting legend and my good friend, Alan Jones. He joins us now. Alan, I know this issue has been of great interest to you in the past. I want to go into a bit of detail here for the viewers at home before I bring you in, because there's been a sustained decline in China's investment in Australia. It's gone, as I said, from $16 billion in 2016 to just below $5 billion in 2018 to now $1 billion in 2020. And look, this is interesting. It's concentrated in particular sectors. Real estate worth about $500 million, mining worth about $400 million, and manufacturing worth about $150 million. Now, this is not just coronavirus, clearly, Alan Jones. What's the real story, do you think?
Well, Peter, I think you're right. I have been fairly critical of this in the past. On the other hand, where I have been critical is that Canberra doesn't seem to differentiate between investment and ownership. Now, as you know, we have a very low capital base relative to the rest of the world, and therefore we do require overseas money to be able to do the things we want to do. There's a big difference between investment and ownership. My objection in the past has been to selling out our water to very vital commodities, just as we've seen in relation to our telecommunications or indeed in relation to our agriculture, our dairy industry. So because we've sold the dairy industry completely, virtually to China, they're getting fresh milk, they're getting powdered milk, that's precisely what our families need. So in investment terms, we are China only the 9th largest investor in Australia. People would be surprised to know that outfits like Belgium and Japan have more investment. And I'm not sure those ANU figures are right, by the way. The last figures I had a look, Peter, mind you, there has been a significant diminution, and you're right about the 61%, but I think it's about $3 and a bit billion. But nonetheless, the one point I would make is there is a concern if China own the country and if they own vital infrastructure, or, I mean, the Port of Darwin for 90 years is virtually ownership, or if they own the water. That's my concern. In terms of investment, we will welcome money from everywhere so long as we retain control. I think that's the clue here, and I don't think Canberra give us sufficiently specific figures. I was interested in your real estate figures there, because what is the story there? Now, people will say, oh, well, you know, they can't take the real estate with them. That's true. But if these people are coming very significantly into the real estate market, young people are having the price they have to pay ratcheted up because there is foreign investment in that area. So these are areas where I think government needs to do a bit more homework.
And look, I'll have to go back and check the current rules in relation to real estate, but there was a loophole that foreign property ownership could exist if the child, let's say, was here on a scholarship to go to university or on a visa for further study in Australia for the period of time that they needed somewhere to live. Now, that often can get rolled out for many, many years as well. So that I think that you make the good point there between control and ownership, and in particular when we talk about agriculture, dairy is a good example. Vertical integration. So it's not just the farm and the cows and the milk. It's the milk processing and then everything that comes out of the milk processing not being available to Australian consumers.
But see, why shouldn't we be doing that? Why shouldn't we be doing this? This is what I say. I mean, goodness me, we've got trillions of dollars in superannuation funds. Why do we allow, say, the dairy industry to go to Chinese ownership when we could be processing this stuff here and we could be selling the powdered milk, we could be selling the buttermilk, we could be selling the cheese to Asia?
Because our super funds are obsessed with climate change as a political weapon against a lot of the big companies, as you well know. So that's where their focus is, using superannuants' income to leverage the political game. I want to go to a big issue. This is coming up again in the Parliament in Victoria. One of my viewers, Lara Eckfield, she wants to speak up about these proposed extension to laws in Victoria about state of emergency. There's a whole bunch of crossbenchers who will decide Victoria's fate. Now, some of them have been saying for a number of weeks, they're very reluctant to give Daniel Andrews a state of emergency powers to roll out until December, particularly now that we're out of lockdowns and we've got this vaccine on the way. However, However, there's been horse trading going on over the weekend. A number of the Greens obviously are in talks. Fiona Patten, who's now the head of the Reason Party, it's the old sex party. She previously said she wouldn't extend the laws. She's talking turkey now with the Premier. This is a real risk to our democracy, isn't it, if he gets his own way? Because he'll have powers then all the way through December. We're supposed to be coming out of this COVID crisis, not giving him more powers.
Absolutely disgraceful, Peter. It's the only word to use. But, I mean, this is highlighting the disgrace of preferential voting. I mean, these people who are now bargaining with Andrews and wanting to waive fines on young people who breached coronavirus rules, waive the fines. And so Daniel Andrews said, well, if you'll vote for me to give me total power over Victoria, I can't believe we're talking about this, total power, extend emergency powers. This means this bloke can call out anything he wants between now and the end of the year, because the Greens want to build a bit of currency with young people and say, oh, but we're the ones who got the government to waive the fines that you have incurred. It is unbelievable that there would be any Premier in this environment who would be considering continuing the state of emergency when people have suffered enough. And how many times have you and I said on this program, I mean, someone in Canberra's got to step in. I mean, you just say to Andrews, look, you can do what you like. You do what you like, but I'll tell you what, we're going to do what we like as well. And we're sick and tired of sending taxpayers' money to you to rescue an economy that you have destroyed. So go and destroy it on your own and pay for it on your own, because the money that comes out of Canberra will be diluted according to the damage that you've done.
Yeah, but I read the politics in this, right? So Victoria has a winter that other states don't, so he'll be concerned about COVID in the winter. And, of course, once the money disappears in March, Victorians will now palpably feel the impact to the lockdowns from last year. So if he keeps everyone in this state of emergency, suspended animation, he would hope he will not be called to account. He's got a weak opposition, so he'll probably get away with it. That's what's driving, in my view, these decisions.
Yeah, but I mean, 99% of these cases are mild. He's never told anyone that, because if he told anyone that, they'd think, well, what are you seeking control over our lives for? Now, no one is dying. There's no one in intensive care. Winter comes up, so someone gets a case. Do we shut the whole joint down because 10 people get coronavirus? I mean, this bloke is a megalomaniac, and I don't understand why Victorians say, oh, he's saved my life. I'll tell you why he saved your life, because he told you, he made you feel you're all going to die, and you weren't going to die. This bloke is appropriating to himself.
Victorians are waking up.
I hope
so. They're starting to wake up.
I hope so,
Let's hope the opposition gets some sort of spine. Alan Jones, brilliant as always.
Oh, thank you,
We'll all
Peter.
watch you at 8 o'clock.
See you soon. Bye-bye.